Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Wednesday, April the 20th. We do have, once again, a 3-game slate for Wednesday. So, as always guys, going to talk through each one of these 3 games, break down each team, kind of give my early thoughts, what I do like, taking a first look at this slate on Tuesday night. And then as we do go through each game, we will build out an early core. We'll talk about 5 players I like at first look on both Draftkings and on Yahoo. But before we do get started, please hit that like button down below. Really appreciate all you guys checking out this video. Make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button as well if you are new here. And also, be sure to go check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. So PrizePicks is a player prop based DFS site. I'm sure most of you guys have heard of PrizePicks, but if you have not and you want to sign up for PrizePicks, you can sign up with my promo code Noah. They will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. And you can take a look at their board for Wednesday's games, see the props they have available. You're just picking over or under. It is very simple. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks, and you can win up to 10 extra money on PrizePicks. You can mix and match sports as well. It's a ton of fun. Definitely get over there, sign up, use code Noah. Get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. And if you guys want some of my favorite plays on PrizePicks each day, I do share those in my YouTube video. I'll post a video probably an hour or 2 after this video goes up. I will post my PrizePicks video talking through a couple of my favorite plays on PrizePicks for today. I do also give out additional PrizePicks plays over on Patreon. All of my other DFS content, our Discord chat, the PrizePicks plays, those are all available for Patreon members. So if you want to check out the Patreon as well, that's linked down below in the description. But let's go ahead and talk through Wednesday's 3-game slate. Start off with Brooklyn and Boston. We got game 2 of this series. Definitely excited for this game, especially after how good game 1 was with that, Jason Tatum buzzer beater. So starting off on the Brooklyn side, you got KD and Kyrie, who obviously both are very solid options here. KD is $10K, Kyrie is $9,900. The price tag on KD did come down quite a bit after he had, such a mediocre game last game. He played huge minutes. He just, didn't do that much. He wasn't productive. He didn't shoot the ball that well. I'm fine going right back to KD. I liked KD last slate. I know he was disappointing, but especially with this price tag coming way down at 10K, I think that's just too cheap for Kevin Durant. He's going to play 40-plus minutes here. Kyrie also going to play huge minutes. Obviously, Kyrie had a huge game last game. He played 42 minutes, had 65 DraftKings points. I think there's definitely a narrative with Kyrie facing Boston. Obviously, the fans are booing him every time he touches the ball. He got fined for flipping the fans off last game. If you want to buy into the narrative and think Kyrie, he's just going to come out here and show out once again, then sure, you could. But I think since Kyrie and KD are closely priced, they're only a $100 difference. I do give the edge to KD today if I had to choose between one of those two guys. I think both are very solid options, though. I mean, you're getting 40-plus minutes from both Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. But then the rest of the Brooklyn guys, it's hard to get excited about anyone else. Bruce Brown was pretty bad last game. He played big minutes, but he just wasn't productive. The minutes are going to be there, but the price tag at $6K just doesn't make Bruce Brown stand out that much, especially in a tough matchup. Andre Drummond's minutes have just been way down. He only played 17 last game. Obviously, the upside is there for Drummond if he gets the minutes, but with how his minutes have been trending, it doesn't seem like he's going to be getting really good minutes right now. Nicholas Claxton's been playing a lot more. He played 31 minutes last game. If this trend continues where Drummond only plays 18 minutes and Claxton gets 30, then obviously Claxton at $4,700 is a pretty good value play. I'm not confident that he plays 31 minutes again, but it seems like Steve Nash prefers going to Claxton over Drummond. At this point, I don't even know why they're starting Drummond, just because he's not even playing that many minutes. Just start Claxton, let Drummond be the backup. But Claxton at $4,700 is an okay value play. I never know what Steve Nash is going to do. If you told me that Drummond played 30 minutes today, I wouldn't be surprised. You never know how he's going to run that center rotation. But right now, it seems like Claxton is the guy that's going to get most of the center minutes. And then you have Seth Curry as a value option. Seth Curry, his upside's not super high, but the minutes should be solid. He should play probably low 30s minutes. He's only $4,500. It's always hard to find value on these playoff slates. So I think Seth Curry as a value option is okay. Don't love it, but I think he's playable. Goran Dragic probably plays low to mid-20s minutes off the bench. Another guy that's playable. Doesn't offer a ton of upside. Obviously playing alongside KD and Kyrie, there's not going to be a ton of opportunity for these secondary pieces from Brooklyn just because they're not going to get much usage. But at 4K, the minutes are going to be decent for Dragic. He's an okay value play, and that's really all that I'm seeing on Brooklyn. Now on the other side, looking at the Celtics, you got Jason Tatum at $9,500. Coming off a pretty solid game last game where he had 53 DK points, played massive minutes. He played 45 minutes. Seems like Tatum's minutes during the playoffs are going to be really, really high. I mean, he's a guy that can always he's always been able to handle playing big minutes. So I think we're going to get massive minutes from Jason Tatum at 9,500. He is definitely in play for me. I would probably rather go to Kevin Durant on the other side of this game. Probably would prefer Kyrie as well. That's definitely close, but Tatum for sure in play. Jaylen Brown at 8,600 is a viable option. At his price tag, I'm not as high on him, just because I think for him to pay off this price tag, he's going to have to go for like over 50 DraftKings points, and obviously Jaylen Brown has that kind of upside, especially because he's going to play plenty of minutes as well. But between Tatum and Brown, I would definitely try and get up to Tatum if I could. Al Horford, I do like quite a bit. So Al Horford, he's been getting really good minutes. He played 41 minutes last game, and really, ever since Robert Williams got injured, Horford has been really productive. His minutes have been really good. I think in this series, he's going to play a ton of minutes. I don't think, they started Daniel Tice last game, but I really don't think Daniel Tice is going to play a ton of minutes, on a nightly basis in this series. So I think you're going to see Horford play a lot at center. His rebounds should be really good. He had 15 rebounds last game. He had 20 points, big double-double from Horford. It was 6,400. If we're going to get, high 30s minutes from Horford, maybe even 40 minutes from him, I definitely have interest in Al Horford. He's been a productive player, especially whenever Robert Williams has been out. And with Robert Williams out right now, the production should continue to be there for Horford. So I do like him quite a bit on this slate. I like him on both sites. He is pretty affordable on Yahoo. So if you do want to play him over there, at only $24, I definitely think that Al Horford looks like a decent option on Yahoo as well. And then the other Celtics, Marcus Smart, I don't mind. He played huge minutes last game, 36 minutes. Seems like Horford, Tatum, Brown, Smart, like all four of those guys are going to play 36 to 40 minutes if the game's close and they stay out of foul trouble. Smart's a guy that doesn't offer a ton of upside. He's not a super productive point per minute player, but he's going to play big minutes. He's not that expensive as a mid-range point guard option. I did play Marcus Smart last slate. Not sure if I'm going to go back to him today or not, but I think at 5,800 he's for sure in play. And that's really it. I don't think I'm considering Derek White or Daniel Tice or anyone else. So let's move on to the next game, talk about Philly and Toronto. So looking at Philly today, you got Joel Embiid at 10-6, who obviously on a 3-game slate, is definitely viable. Will say that he has kind of struggled in this series. He hasn't been super productive. In the 2 games, he's put up 47 and 44 DraftKings points. So the Raptors have done a pretty good job kind of keeping Embiid in check. We've seen Tobias Harris really step up. We've seen Tyrese Maxey really step up. Those guys have definitely been performing really well and obviously helping the Sixers win these first 2 games. Embiid's one of these guys that can just go nuts any night and can put up 75 fantasy points any night. But I think with how the Raptors, with how their defense works, with how good of a coach Nick Nurse is, he'll do a pretty good job at slowing down Embiid. So I think Embiid's in play. I think his ownership will be definitely lower just because he's been so bad in the first two games. He's viable, but I think on this slate there are some other pay-up options I'd rather get to. I'd probably prefer Giannis, who we'll talk about. I definitely like KD and Kyrie. Tatum I'm kind of interested in too. Embiid's not a top option for me, but would I be surprised if he went for 65, 70 fantasy points tonight? I wouldn't be surprised at all. Now Harden at 8,900, that price tag is really appealing. So Harden he was really good game 1. Game 2 he wasn't as good. Aggressive. He's not really been aggressive offensively. He hasn't been taking a ton of shots. When he has big games, it's usually because he racks up a lot of assists. He can get those peripheral stats. At 8,900 though, that's really cheap for James Harden. I know, kind of all the studs have been priced down for these playoff slates just so that so creating a lineup is easier. You price everyone down, makes it easier to build lineups because with how few value plays there are, if you price Harden at 11K like he probably should be, if you price Embiid at 12K like he probably should be, it's just almost impossible to make lineups. So I think at 8,900, Harden looks like a pretty solid option. He might be my favorite play on the Sixers if I had to play anyone here. And then, like I said, Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey have both played really well through the first 2 games of the series. Tyrese Maxey, 48 and 51 DraftKings points. He's been great. I feel like there's some regression coming. I don't expect Tyrese Maxey to put up 50 fantasy points every night. He just hasn't been that kind of player. Embiid's a guy that's really dominated usage. Harden's really dominated usage. But with how well Tyrese Maxey's been playing, I don't think it's a bad idea to go to him. I just think his ownership might be inflated because he's been so good these 2 games. And, like I said, I think there's some regression coming. Same with Tobias Harris. He's been great, 47 and 42 DraftKings points. But we've just seen, so much during the regular season whenever Embiid and Harden were healthy, we just never really got consistently big games from Tobias Harris. We never really got consistently big games from Tyrese Maxey. So it's kind of crazy that, now that we've gotten to the playoffs, these guys are just putting up 50 fantasy points every night. I think it's a little bit unsustainable. I think there's some regression coming for both Harris and Maxey. I don't expect them to continue to put up 45, 50 fantasy points a night. But again, with how well they've played, if you want to go to one of the two, I don't hate it. That's probably all that I'm looking to on the Sixers, though. I don't really see anything else that stands out here. Worth noting that Matisse Thybulle is going to be out today, so that makes a guy like Danny Green look a little bit more appealing. Danny Green did play huge minutes last game. I would think without Thybulle, he's probably going to play big minutes here. Danny Green's a guy that could play. He can play 40 minutes and score 15 fantasy points, but at 3,600, if you're really looking for a punt value play, there's really not much that cheap that's appealing. So if you're trying to go like stars and scrubs, which is really tough to do, if you're trying to go stars and scrubs, I don't mind rostering Danny Green. I think he's a okay value play, I will say. But that's really all that I'm looking to on the Sixers. Now, on the other side with the Raptors, so the Raptors are kind of going to be a team you have to get some exposure to today. Once again, it looks like Scotty Barnes is going to be out. He's doubtful for today, so Scotty Barnes not expected to play. And then Gary Trent was doubtful last game, ultimately wound up playing. He played 10 minutes, and then he had to leave with the illness, which is what he's been dealing with. He's questionable once again with that illness. I don't know what to do here with Gary Trent. Like, I don't know if he plays or not. If he does play, is he fully healthy? I have no idea. Obviously, last game, he wasn't fully healthy. He played 10 minutes, and then he had to leave because, the illness got to him. So, not sure what to do with Gary Trent. Obviously, Scotty Barnes is not expected to play, though. What we can expect, though, is massive roles for Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby. These three guys have just been playing huge minutes through the first two games of this series, 40 and 41 minutes for Siakam. In like the first game was a blowout. I mean, Siakam's going to play like 42, 43, 44 minutes. Hopefully, now that this game's being played in Toronto, hopefully we can get a close game and these guys are, getting big minutes. So I'm definitely interested in Siakam. I think Fred VanVleet's a great play. I mean, 7,500 is way too cheap for Fred VanVleet. The first two games of this series, first game in game one, played only 36 minutes because he fouled out. Also, it was a blowout. Don't want to look too much into that one, but then last game, 44 minutes from Fred VanVleet, like, he literally might play the entire game. I'm pretty sure he played the entire first half last game. He's going to play as many minutes as he can handle. So 7,500 is still way too cheap for Fred VanVleet, especially with Scotty Barnes doubtful, with Gary Trent possibly not playing either. Love VanVleet on both sides. Definitely one of the most optimal plays, I would say. If you're building, if you're playing cash games on the slate, you're probably locking in Fred VanVleet. Even in tournaments, I know he's going to be popular. Just feels like a really good play that's just way too cheap right now. So really like Fred VanVleet once again. OG Anunoby's price tag came up a little bit, but he should play huge minutes as well. He played 38 minutes last game. I think he plays around 40 minutes today. 6,400. I'm fine going to OG on this slate. And then the value guys. So you got Presta Achiuwa, who did start last game. He didn't play a ton of minutes, only 29. Wasn't super productive either, but I'm guessing that Achiuwa will start again in place of Scotty Barnes. So Achiuwa is an okay value play. I have no issue going there. Chris Boucher, though, we did see play really well off the bench. He played 30 minutes off the bench, had 31 Draftkings points. I had a lot of interest in Boucher before it was announced that he wasn't starting. Also, once it was announced, so once Gary Trent got ruled in and Boucher was like not starting, I kind of backed off of Boucher last slate because I wasn't as high on him. But I think with how well he played last game, like, he's probably earned more minutes. The Raptors need something from someone off the bench because they can't play Siakam, not Scotty Barnes, but VanVleet, OG. Like, they can't play those guys the entire game. Somebody's got to give them something off the bench. And I think Boucher can provide that. He's a guy that can score, he can shoot threes, he can rebound, he can block shots. He's an athletic big. He's not the biggest guy. Like, he's definitely undersized compared to Embiid. He's fairly skinny, but at 4,500, with how good of a point per minute player Boucher is, with how well he played last game, you have to think he's going to get probably 25, 30 minutes again. If Gary Trent doesn't play, I feel even better about Boucher. If Gary Trent winds up playing, I don't think that's like back off Boucher, just because I think Boucher's earned playing time at this point. So 4,500 for Boucher, I do like him a lot as a value play. He's fairly cheap on Yahoo as well. I think over there at $17. You can definitely go to Chris Boucher on Yahoo today, and that's probably it from Toronto. Like, Toronto, they're just going to run, VanVleet, Siakam, OG, massive minutes. Boucher should play around 30 minutes. Achiuwa should play around 30 minutes. If Gary Trent plays, he should play big minutes if he's healthy, but we just don't know if he's healthy. So these other guys like Malachi Flynn, Thad Young, Kim Burst, these guys just aren't going to get enough minutes to be viable. So that's all I'm seeing on Toronto. Let's move on to the last game of the night, the Bulls and the Bucks. So looking at the Bulls today, that was a pretty good game for them. Game one against Milwaukee, even though they lost, they were able to keep the game close. It came down to the wire. You saw DeRozan, Vooch, and Zach LaVine all play huge minutes. DeRozan played 43 minutes last game. Wasn't super productive, but I think once again you're going to get massive minutes from DeRozan. He shot the ball terribly last game, 24% from the field. Obviously, you don't expect that to happen again, so definitely think you can go to DeRozan. Vooch had a great game last game. He played 39 minutes, had 56 Draftkings points. He took 27 shots. I mean, the usage on this Bulls team is just going to be so concentrated around these three guys, DeRozan, Vooch, and LaVine. And we kind of saw that be the case last game. Like, these were the guys that were just taking all the shots. Like, I mean, we can take a look at the bench guys. Like Caruso, he shot the ball 7 times. Patrick Williams shot the ball 3 times. Kobe White shot the ball 10 times. Who else? Io, he played 9 minutes. He only took 1 shot. I mean, look at the shot attempts for LaVine. Like 19 shots for LaVine, 27 for Vooch. DeRozan, he shot the ball, 25 times. I mean, you're going to get just massive usage for all 3 of DeRozan, Vooch, LaVine. I think you can play 2 of the 3. I don't think I would play all 3 in one lineup because I think at that point that's just too much. But 2 of the 3 I definitely like, and I think my 2 favorites are Vooch and LaVine, especially because they're a little bit cheaper than DeRozan. So Vooch is $7,300, LaVine is $7,200. I like both these guys quite a bit. On Yahoo, they're pretty affordable over there as well. LaVine's coming in at $30 at the small forward position. Vooch coming in at $31. DeRozan's a little bit more expensive on Yahoo. He's $37, so that's kind of why I prefer LaVine and Vooch as well over there. But like I said, just going to get massive minutes for all these guys. Vooch played 39 minutes, was really productive. Hopefully, Chicago can keep this game close again. I mean, it was a super low-scoring game. It was literally like the Bulls scored 86 points, and these guys still had big games. Vooch went for 56. LaVine had over 40 fantasy points, or had 40 fantasy points. He played 37 minutes, and he also lost a few minutes due to foul trouble. He had 5 fouls in those 37 minutes. He was on pace to play about 40 minutes had he not been in foul trouble. So I think we get 40 minutes from LaVine. I think we get close to 40 minutes from Vooch. I think we get 40-plus minutes from DeRozan. All 3 of those guys look like very solid options today. If Chicago keeps this game close, it's going to be because of those 3 guys. I mean, they just don't get enough production from really anyone else. I don't think I'm going to anyone else on Chicago. I mean, Caruso as a value option, I don't hate. He probably plays like 30-plus minutes. He's cheap, doesn't offer much upside, but if you need a value play at the guard position, I don't hate Caruso. But that's all I'm seeing on Chicago. Now, looking at the other side with Milwaukee, so you got Giannis at the top for $10,900. I think when it comes to just raw projection and who has the highest floor and ceiling on the slate, it's probably Giannis. Giannis was also in foul trouble last game. He only played 34 minutes. He still had 55 Draftkings points though in those 34 minutes. It felt like Giannis didn't even have a good game last game, and he still scored almost 60 fantasy points. I mean, he just has a massive floor. He obviously is a super high usage player, super productive player, and I would expect today he plays more than 34 minutes. I think if this game's close, we're getting like 38, 40 minutes from Giannis. I think his minutes in the playoffs are going to be really high. So definitely like Giannis today. He's for sure my favorite player on Milwaukee. Drew and Middleton at their price tags, I'm not super high on. I mean, Drew last game, 39 minutes, 34 DK points. His upside just playing with Giannis has just not been high, and it's hard to predict when you're going to get those big games from Drew and Middleton. Like, they can pop off at any game, but when they're playing with Giannis, you just never know when those games are going to happen. So I'd probably rather go to like LaVine and Vooch on the other side at similar price tags. Bobby Portis is questionable, or he's probable, so he's expected to play. I thought he was questionable, but he's probable. Don't think that really matters too much. I mean, Brook Lopez probably starts, plays like 30 minutes. Another cheap guy that has that's playable, but I think the upside there is a little bit limited. Like, outside of that one game he had against the Bulls early this year when he went for 46 fantasy points, I mean, he's just like 25, 28. He's not a guy that offers a ton of ceiling. He's cheap. He probably plays like 30 minutes. He's an okay value play. And that's all that I'm looking to on Milwaukee. I don't think anyone else stands out here. So that's it for this Milwaukee-Chicago game, and that's it for this 3-game Wednesday slate. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this video helped. If you enjoyed, just hit that like button down below before you do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button as well. Go check out PrizePicks, the sponsor of the video. Again, you can sign up for PrizePicks and use my promo code NOAH. They will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. And you can take a look at their board for Wednesday's games. See the options they have. Make some picks yourself. You can make 2 picks. You can make up to 5 picks. You mix and match sports. PrizePicks a ton of fun. If you guys have not signed up, make sure to get over there, sign up, use that promo code NOAH, get that deposit bonus when you sign up for PrizePicks. But that's all I got for today, guys. Wish you the best of luck on this 3-game slate. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.